Alright everybody, welcome back. In this video we're going to talk about measures of central tendency and how we calculate them. There are three major types of measures of central tendency that we're interested in, and then one related statistic that we're going to talk about that's related to central tendency, and you see all four of them listed here. First of all, the mean, or what is commonly known as the average of a list of numbers. In order to find the mean, all we're going to do is we're going to add up all the numbers in the data set, and then we're going to divide by how many numbers there are. So that's a pretty straightforward calculation. You've got to be a little careful sometimes as far as making sure your addition and all that is correct, but other than that, finding the mean shouldn't be terribly challenging. The second measure of central tendency is the median, which is the middle number in an ordered list of data. So in order to find the median, the first thing we need to do is we need to put the numbers in order from smallest to largest, and then we're going to identify the number in the middle. And one important thing is sometimes we've got an even number of numbers in our data set, and when that happens, the middle is actually going to be in between two numbers on the list. So we'll go in between those two numbers, and we will find the average of those two numbers that are in the middle of the list in order to find the median when this happens. The mode is the most common number in a list of data, and so basically we're just looking at the data and looking for a number that occurs the most, and that's going to be our mode. Sometimes we can have multiple modes when we have multiple numbers that occur the most number of times in the set, in which case we'll list both of them or all three of them, however many there are, as the mode. And then the last characteristic we're talking about today, which really isn't a measure of central tendency, but we see it lumped in with these three a lot, is the range of a data set. The range basically is the span from one end of the data set to the other. How wide are the number values in our data set? And in order to find the range, all we're going to do is take the largest data value minus the smallest data value. So that's how we find these four characteristics. We're going to go ahead and look at a couple of examples quickly, and just to refresh your memory about how to find all of these. Alright, our first example, we're going to find the mean, median, mode, and range of the data set. So let's start with the mean. In order to find the mean, I'm going to add all of these numbers up and then divide by how many there are. So I count up how many there are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 numbers in this set. And then I'm going to add them all up. I'm going to break out my handy dandy calculator to do this. So I've got 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 9 plus 10 plus 11 plus 11 plus 13 plus 14 plus 17 plus 20. I add all those up. They add up to 151. And so then I'm going to take 151 and divide it by 15. And that gives us our mean. I'm going to round this off to 2 decimal places. So 10.07 for our mean. Alright. Then the median. Now in order to find the median, I need my data set to be in order from smallest to biggest. And this data set is already in order from smallest to biggest, so that's convenient for us. And then I'm basically just going to count into the middle. I got one number on each end, and then another number on each end, and then another number on each end, and another number on each end. And we do that and do that until we get to this middle number in the list, and that's going to be our median. So our median in this case is going to be 9. There are some interesting ways to do that. I have some kind of shortcuts mentally that I use when I'm looking for the median. But this is a pretty sound method, just kind of crossing off a number from each end of the list until you get to the middle. And let's see, we've got the mode. We want to find the number that shows up the most in this data set. And it looks like that's going to be the number 7. It shows up 3 times in our data set. No other number shows up more than twice. So the mode is going to be 7. And then lastly, the range. In order to get the range, we're going to take the maximum number in the data set minus the minimum number in the data set. And so the range is going to be 17. And there are those 4 characteristics from this particular data set. All right, one more example. Let's look at this data set. Again, it's convenient for us here because the data set is already in order. If the data set wasn't in order, we'd have to put them in order before we found the median, because that's going to be important for us, because we want the middle number in an ordered list, not just the middle number however the data points are listed. Alright, so let's find the mean first. We'll count up how many numbers there are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 numbers in this data set. And then I'm going to add them all up. So I've got 7 plus 9. And we're just going to go ahead and keep adding all these up. 13, 13, 13. And you want to make sure as you're typing these in, if you're using a calculator to do this, you want to make sure that you don't accidentally enter any of the numbers wrong or skip any of the numbers in the list. So kind of go back and forth between what you're typing in and the list, and make sure that you don't accidentally type in a 2 when you meant to type in a 29. And 37 is the last number in the list. And so those add up to 299. And then we're going to take that and divide it by the number of numbers, which is 16. And we get 18.69 as our mean. Okay, next, the median. Now this is going to be a little different from the first one because when I count in my numbers from each end, we end up having 2 numbers here that split the middle, and the median is actually in between those 2 numbers. And so what I do here to find the median when I have 2 numbers splitting the middle is I find the average of those. So I'm just going to add those together and divide by 2. And the median of this data set is going to be 16.5 because it's in between those 2. Alright, the mode, I look at the data list. It looks like 13 is going to be my mode because 13 occurs 3 times. No other number occurs that many or more times. So my mode is going to be 13, and my range is going to be the biggest minus the smallest. So my range is going to be 30. Alright, and there are all of my measures of central tendency and my range for this data set. Alright, that's the end of this video. See you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day.